Hello everyone, I am women's football analyst Jacob Bernstein and I am going to be previewing Spurs' WSL fixture against Aston Villa this weekend.
You came along, just like a song, and brightened my day. Who'd have believed that you were part of the dream? Now it all seems like years away.
Spurs Women are back after a few weeks off. It has been the international break. So before I get into the match preview, let's do a bit of a recap of some of the Spurs news in the last couple of weeks and what's been going on in the international break. 12 Spurs players were called up by their countries during the November international break. Lisa Kopp, Toka Koga and Claire Hunt all played games for the Netherlands, Japan and Australia respectively. And all three of those players kept clean sheets, continuing their strong defensive starts to the season for Spurs. Evelina Summanen, Olivia Holt and Martha Thomas also started games again for Finland, Denmark and Scotland respectively. Looking back before the break, Spurs won their last game. It was a 1-0 win in the Subway Cup v Bristol City. Martha Thomas scored the only goal in that game, scoring her first goal of the season, which meant Spurs secured their place in the quarter-final of the Subway Cup. They finished first in their group. They won 2 games. The other game was against Aston Villa, which was a draw, and that went to penalties, which Spurs won, which meant that they topped the group. Spurs also didn't concede across all 3 of those games against Aston Villa, Birmingham City and Bristol City. Spurs now face Man United away in the quarter-finals of the Subway Cup on Sunday, December the 21st. I'm not going to go into the Subway Cup draw and all the games being on at the same time for the quarter-finals because I could do a whole video on that and that opens up a whole new can of worms in regard to some of the controversy in the last couple of weeks. In terms of the WSL, Spurs' last WSL game was the 0-0 draw in the North London derby at home against Arsenal. It was a really strong result. It was only the third time that Spurs have taken points off Arsenal in the WSL. It was their 4th clean sheet of the season, which is really impressive considering we only kept 2 clean sheets in the whole of last season in the WSL. And the last bit of news before going into the match preview is off the pitch. Spurs announced that Sinja Gopset would be joining Spurs in January from SK Brann. Now, I am really excited about this signing. She is a 20-year-old attacking midfielder. In 2025 in the Norwegian League, she got 15 goals and 12 assists in 26 appearances. Really, really strong numbers. And she was named the league's best player. Having watched her in the Euros a bit, she impressed as well. She got 2 goals in Norway's 4-3 win against Iceland in the group stage at Euro 2025. And lastly, there's a bit of a connection because obviously Martin Ho used to manage at Brann and used to manage Gopset. So I think it's really exciting that Spurs have announced it a few weeks before January to get us excited for when we come back after the winter break. But yeah, let's get into the preview and start with our opponent, Aston Villa. So yeah, let's do a bit of a deep dive into our opponent for the weekend, Aston Villa. Aston Villa currently sit 8th in the WSL. I think they've had a relatively strong start to the season. They've got 10 points. They've won 2 games. They've drawn 4, which is surprising. Joint most draws in the league. And they've only lost 2 games. Those 2 games being a 3-1 loss early in the season to Chelsea and a 3-1 loss last time out against London City Lionesses. I think both of those games, Villa were quite unlucky because I think it was probably bad defending more than anything that cost them the points in those ones. But also it's important to remember that Villa do have a game in hand. They obviously had that game against Liverpool postponed because of Matt Beard's passing away, and that game is going to take place, I think it's next midweek, so Villa will be able to catch up on games then, and it gives them opportunity to catch up on the likes of Brighton, London City Lionesses and Tottenham. Going into specific players and results that Villa have had this season, let's first look at results. I think it's important to look at their away form firstly. They've had a really strong away form. They're actually unbeaten away. They drew 0-0 to Brighton on opening day. They got a really strong result against Arsenal with a 1-0 draw. They beat West Ham 2-0, and then they beat Man United away 1-0, which was a really strong result, and Miri Taylor goal securing the win. And that means, Villa had a really strong away record, 2 wins and 2 draws. They've only conceded 1 away goal, so I expect it to be a tough game for Spurs. And as you can see here, Villa have set up broadly the same across all their games this season. Different personnel potentially, but they have had that kind of 3-5 at the back set up. Let's have a look how they set up last time against London City Lionesses. So broadly, we've been seeing that similar team with the 3-5 at the back set up. I think it's important to note Anna Patton, who actually didn't play in the game last time out against London City Lionesses. Anna Patton has had a really strong season at centre-back. Lynn Vilms has been a really good acquisition over the summer at right centre-back. And Oceane Deslanders has also been strong in defence. In midfield, Lucia Kendall, who got her Lionesses call up recently, has been strong for Villa, and they've broadly started with in the last couple of games with these two up front, Kirsty Hansen and Georgia Mullet. Kirsty Hansen has probably been one of the strong links for Villa this season, so I think she's probably the one to look out for. As you can see, if we start looking at the statistics, Kirsty Hansen has 3 goals for Villa, by far the most. No one else has scored more than a goal for them this season. In terms of assists, Lynn Vilm, she's got a really dangerous cross. But I think that kind of sums up some of the key players for Villa. And finally, let's go on to team news and predictions. I am filming this before Martin Ho's press conference, which is on Friday. The only bit of team news which I think needs a bit of confirmation from Martin Ho in his press conference is about Katinka Tandberg. I saw something from some Norwegian Twitter source that said Tandberg might have picked up an injury on international duty, but I've heard nothing on severity or anything more on that. So I'm awaiting Martin Ho's verdict on Tandberg and anything else, if anyone else picked anything up on international duty. If not, I expect the team to be relatively similar because on the whole, we've gone with the same team across the season. That's Lisa Kopp in goal, Amanda Nilden, Toko Claire Hunt and Ashley Neville. A midfield 3 of Drew Spence, Evelina Summerlin and Olivia Holt. And then I'll predict for now in the front 3, Jess Naz, Beth England and Matilda Vinberg. So just leaving Katinka Tandberg out, because regardless of if she's injured or not, she might end up getting rested just if she did pick something up that was minor on international duty. In terms of prediction, I think it's going to be a really tough game. I wouldn't be surprised if the game was a draw. Villa have had 4 draws out of 8 this season, so 50% of their games this season have resulted in a draw. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was kind of like a 1-1 or even a 0-0 potentially, because both teams have kept 4 clean sheets this season. However, I'll be slightly optimistic. I'll go 2-1 Spurs, as I think that kind of keeps the trend of it being a close and relatively low scoring game. In terms of goal scorers, potentially hard to predict. I think from Spurs, I'll go with maybe Beth England to get on the score sheet, as well as Olivia Holt. And for Villa, I think as we looked at before, Kirsty Hansen's been in the goals for Villa, so I'll go Kirsty Hansen for Villa. But that kind of wraps up my match preview for the WSL game between Spurs and Villa on Sunday at 12 o'clock. There are 2 WSL games left before a winter break. We play Villa this weekend, and then there's a game against United next weekend, and that will mark halfway through the season. It's been a really strong start to the season for Spurs, and hoping we can carry that on. If you are new to the channel, subscribe to Harry. If you want more Spurs Women content, follow me on Twitter at JacobBurn14. Looking forward to the game and reviewing it after the weekend. I will see you soon.
You came along just like a song, and brighten my